I'm Mike Kelzer. Growing up in my family's pharmacy, the moments that stuck were the business conversations with my dad. This podcast continues those conversations. No scripts, no fluff, just honest insights into the business of pharmacy. I'll be here each week. I hope you'll join me. Marco, introduce yourself to our listeners.
I'm Marco Benitez. I'm one of the co-founders of what we are building here at ROOK. I'm from Mexico, but now living here in the US the last 2 years. Very happy to be here.
All right, so Marco, lay it out. What is ROOK? What are we looking at here?
Well, we are a data science company. We enable any brand to use these wearables, commercial wearables devices like the Apple Watch, the Polar, Garmin, Suunto, Huawei, all of them. There's a lot of industries outside that want to use the information for different purposes, like they want to track the patient 24/7, or maybe they want to create an engagement platform, or they want to create a personalized experience for the fitness industry, or they want to create different type of things. Industries are trying to pull this data from the end users from these devices, but there is two big problems. The first one, there's tons of wearables outside, the smartwatches and the phones and, too many things that you can track. And basically those clients or these industries need to integrate one by one. They need to integrate the Polars, the Garmin, the Suunto, the Huawei, the Withings, the 8Sleep, all of them. And then they need to maintain those integrations, and then they need to make sense of all these data. It's too many efforts at the same time, and we take down that pain. Instead of integrate all of them and make sense of all this data, we are an API solution, which we already have more than 300 wearables integrated. They integrate, they copy-paste basically my code in their own code, and then they can pull the data. We basically clean all the data, and we deliver clean and very structured information for those who want to use it.
I think I got that. You've got the device, you've got the end user, there's a lot of different handshakes going on. You're like, hey, let's normalize these handshakes. We're going to be the person in the middle to accept these and then match them up with things. All right. Now, Marco, as a non-technical guy, I'm thinking, why didn't they do this from the start? It seems to me like at the very start, there's some kind of an API or some kind of a middle person, and they're all writing this kind of the same code and stuff. Why didn't that start that way to begin with when wearables were coming in, let's say, 20 years ago, something like that? This episode is sponsored by Remedy Chain, a nonprofit giving medications a second chance. Pharmacies can donate overstock, and families can give back by donating sealed, in-date meds. Don't let good medicine go to waste. Learn more at donatemymeds.org.
Yeah, well, it's a question, and it's because at the very beginning, those industries, the main core is not to integrate the wearables. So, for instance, an insurance company, the main core is not to create this development, and they do a lot of stuff outside of this scope. So they need developers, they need data scientists just to make sense of all this data. It's like a numbers game. If they want clear information, and we are just a company that just do these API integrations and all this data aggregation. So we are expert on that front. So it's easier for those companies to say, hey, let's third party this activity to them because they have already solved everything. So it's better.
If it was just two wearable companies talking to each other, they might already have some standardized language, but you're dealing with a lot of companies that say, hey, we want this information, give it to us. And you're like, well, you can't just say, give it to us. You need someone to go in there and make that electronic handshake, basically. And so what you're doing then is you're not dealing with necessarily a technical company that might already have done that 20 years ago. You're dealing with a company that wants this information that really maybe has no idea how to get in there and make that handshake with somebody.
Exactly. Instead of do these integrations, instead of having all these technical things, it's rather easy to go with me, integrate very simple my technology, and that's it. They have all the access to the information, and now they can do something because we are like an AI ready for them, because we clean so good the data that they can do on top of that AI and now do real stuff with the information that they receive.
All right, so Marco, the listeners can't see this, but I'm looking at you, and I know when you said wearables, you held some things up, and I'm guessing those aren't just fancy jewelry. You probably have some wearable ring on and things like that. Show me what you have. Let's explain it. And then tell me about some other wearables that are out there now that maybe you're not wearing at the current time.
First of all, I'm a geek of wearables. I love the technology. So I'm a biomedical engineer. I love technology. I love medical devices. I love everything around that. And to create data with something, I love it. That being said, I have the Aura in one hand. I have the Whoop on the same hand. I have also the Apple Watch. I have the Parch, which is a CGM from Dexcom. I have in my bed the 8 Sleep that control my temperature and also give me more insights around the sleep information. Yes, I have everything what I can. First of all, because I love it, but secondly, also because we have already integration with everything, and I'm the best consumer of my technology and help my data scientists to make better with all this information. I'm an experiment for them. So
Sure. You talked about the Dexcom that goes onto your skin on your shoulder. What was the sleep one? Was that just a watch, or was that something kind of by your bedside or something?
It's a mat. In fact, it's a cover because I have a wife. One part, it's, just set up your own temperature, and they have their own algorithms that can help you to improve your sleep in the night. And it could be a little bit warmer. It could be a little bit colder. That depends 100% on you because it's customized on your experience in the night because they are trying to keep you in their REM phase. For my wife, for example, she prefers to be more warm. In my case, I prefer very cold. It's as a man, it's different, right? And the women are different. Really helps.
I've got a Pixel watch. I just don't like wearing the thing to bed. I know it can do a lot of stuff at bedtime. I just don't like wearing it to bed. And in fact, I take a walk every morning, and I don't really like wearing my Pixel watch there because, my arm sweats a little bit. I just soon have a phone in my pocket. So it's interesting, what has come out. And I guess everybody's going to think that they want it as soon as they come out. But for example, the rings, have the rings taken off like you think they would? Does your business want to reach our 500 weekly listeners during this 10 seconds? Head on over to bizafarmpod.com to find out how.
I think that we are in a very good moment with our rings. Now it's like a new war of new rings. The Mac or Apple, they are going to release their own ring. This is something that not sure, but probably will happen. Samsung, they have their own. So I think everyone is starting to use one of these rings because it's very easy to use. You already have something in your hand and probably will be a ring. It's the easier way to extract the information. I really love it. I think there is a huge opportunity, or there is a big room still to extract more information from the ring. But right now, I think they are doing very well. For example, ROOK received a huge investment from Dexcom, like 1 or 2 months ago. So Dexcom investing this medical device, big pharma industry investing in this piece of technology is huge. So they can start to navigate new areas of temperature, of new ways to extract blood glucose, so it's really interesting what's going on today in the medical devices.
What are the wearables are on the horizon? I know Google has tried the glasses, and I know some people talk about contact lenses, and I know there's probably other stuff. What other things do you think are out there that are going to be coming at some point?
I mean, we have Elon Musk doing Neuralink. So that one...
A little chip in the brain.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of new wearables outside. I can go with the fitness industry, wellness industry, where you can see stress levels. I can see these new wearables coming that are more focusing on a specific biomarker like stress levels or HRV or temperature or blood pressure. They are more precise right now. There will come a lot of these new wearables that are only going to focus in one specific biomarker.
And it may not be a different part of the body, but it's someone that's going to specialize in the ring for this or the watch for this.
Exactly. I definitely see this type of devices coming, and they are more specialized and could be more interested in a specific thing. so they can be better in that space. For example, the Aura Ring is more focused on the sleep data. So they are not so good in the fitness, or at least for me, when I do a lot of workouts, because I do workouts and lift weighting and all these type of things, it's not so good, but the Whoop is better, or even the Apple Watch. So it's like you will see this type of combination, but I see a future where everyone is using a wearable eventually. You already have one. It's your phone. Your phone, it's a wearable already.
Someone told me, and I don't know, it wasn't just an off-the-hand comment. It was something that came from the industry, I guess. But they said that Apple at its heart is a healthcare company. What do you think about that statement when you hear that?
It's very interesting. I mean, at the very beginning, probably not, because they were more focused on the laptops and this, that everyone should have a computer, that you can go everywhere. I mean, now with the glasses, which I don't think so, they have the penetration today, but the same happened with the Apple Watch. At the very beginning, not sure if you remember, the Apple Watch was not very adopted and no one were trying to use it because it's like a piece of technology that it's like an extension of your phone, period. But now I think it's becoming more relevant. I mean, it's really interesting when you see the data from the Apple Watch. Man, it's accurate. It's accurate. It's really nice. I will say that probably, yes, they could be at some point. And if they want to navigate those waters, that will be very interesting because I can see these gadgets, wearables, devices all over your place with the glasses, with the Apple Watch, with probably another thing, a pill that can track more things.
A pill that can do more.
Exactly.
So, Marco, how much do you have to deal with the federal regulators, I don't know, FDA, the stuff that you hear about when people have to have their health equipment regulated? Do you have to report to them or anything as kind of that middle person, or you're not really in that area because you don't have the device yourself?
Exactly. I'm like a pipe today. I'm like a pipe because I extract the data from all these devices and I deliver in a very easy way and clean to my clients. Today, we are not focused on that because we have nothing to do with the algorithms that the FDA required. However, we have other regulations like HIPAA compliant or GDPR or some certifications for cybersecurity because we are treating with the data that we have today. It's very relevant because we have everything. We are HIPAA compliant, GDPR compliant. We anonymize all the information and I will never know that the data that I'm receiving is from Mike. But I have a specific information from heart rate variabilities, blood pressure, different type of biomarkers, which are very relevant. Generally speaking, we are not regulated by the FDA, but we are regulated for the data component on the HIPAA and GDPR.
What is your biggest complaint as that business owner of the industry, not of things internally, but of the industry as far as, we gotta, HIPAA's a pain because they always make us report this, or I can't even think of one, but what is something that kind of gets under your skin in this kind of industry?
I mean, my biggest complaint or struggle, I will say this, the data, how we receive all this information. And that's something from the same wearable companies. The information is not standardized in any way. When someone wants to do something with the information, they need the information very clear and very transparent, very easy to digest, so they can build on top of that AI or build on top of that anything. So my biggest concern is more about how we receive the information and how deep we can go with the data, because the data is really nice from all the wearables that are outside. I will say everyone, they are doing very good jobs, but the problem is that it's not standardized. And that's a big problem today. The regulations are the regulations, period. It's the law. It's something that you have to be compliant. And it's perfect. That's the reasons that we have law outside. It's because we have to be compliant in specific things. So I'm not worried about that. The only thing is that we have to be very aware all the time if there is any change in the regulation. But this is something normal. In the healthcare space, this is something that I was dealing before, so it's not a new thing. But on the wearable side, I will say that's the biggest struggle because it's complicated to be very in the granular data and be normalized and everything. So that's the biggest struggle or compliance problems.
That struggle is really your bread and butter. I mean, that struggle is what then makes you valuable for these other companies. I imagine there's some times where it's even a struggle for you guys where it's like, yeah, Mike, that's our bread and butter, but we're even having trouble getting some of this stuff out because it's so complicated.
Yeah, definitely. This is our big differentiator. But also, if the information was a little bit more standardized, we can do better things. What we want to do is be more a data science company in terms of bring insights and predictions for those clients. So for example, a remote patient monitoring, identify adverse events before it happens, probably 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 1 week. We can save lives here. That's why I'm saying that it's important how we receive the data, and definitely our big differentiator is how we treat the data. But then it's not only that, it's if we receive a better data, we can build more stuff for our clients. But again, this is a big market. There is a huge opportunity for a lot of things to do with the information, with the data that we receive from even with your phone. We can extract so many data points in your phone that could be some for value for you and for those companies that want to do something. That, I mean, it's really great what's going on today. I'm super excited for the future, even for the present.
Is that data on the phone, is that from consumer entry, or are you talking things like the gyrometers and those kind of things in the phone? Is it the phone itself that's throwing off information?
Exactly. It's mainly the phone. They have so many things that you can measure, steps, or you will see, sleep information with the alarms, and you can see screen time. You can see, too many things, even with the earphones, or maybe with different headsets, you can start to see different type of signs. I mean, the phone, they have a lot of information, and they are impressive computers.
It's a cliche always about, they're millions of times stronger than what went to the moon kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which doesn't make me think how great the phone is. It makes me think, how the hell did we get to the moon with that? So
I agree with you.
So Marco, tell me about your degree and tell me what people would normally do with your degree and then bring it into what you do and so on.
Yeah, well, I am a biomedical engineer. I have a second degree in biomedics. Biomedical engineers is this intersection between medicine and engineer. And the engineers, we create things. The big thing with the engineers is that we have this structure to create things, create processes that help to do something with anything. We have the scientists, and then the scientists create something, and then the engineers are the ones who create something with the information that they have from those results from the science. So normally, a biomedical engineer could be in hospitals, could be in big pharma, could be creating a medical device, could be, creating these type of things. So my background was in medical devices. I was very interested to create medical devices. At the very beginning, we were trying to do it. In fact, my previous company, we created a wearable for heart rate. We create a chest heart rate, and then an arm. We started to create information to pull the data from heart rate monitor. So it was very interesting, but was very expensive, very expensive. And we realized that there is a lot of wearables outside already, and they have a huge market. And there is a lot of opportunities for wearables, but it's like at the moment that we are today, I think that we have enough wearables, and those companies are doing really interesting things.
Yeah, at some point you're like, well, what the hell are we making this for? There's already one out at 1/10 of the price. Let's see where we can fit into that market. Well, just yesterday, I don't know why I did. I was just sitting there, but I took my EKG on my, on my Pixel, on my watch. I just touch the crown and I get an EKG. I mean, that's amazing stuff. So Marco, looking at your history, there's some companies on here that our listeners will know, Roche and Novartis. What did you do there?
Yeah, I was working in the clinical trials. That's part of my background. This is my second startup. My first startup was, we have a very interesting exit in 2006. I was very young, and so I was in the college with one of my best friends. He's, again, my co-founder. We were doing something for fun, and we sold this company. It was an algorithm for hospitals.
Tell me what it was.
Well, was to create the ground for hospitals. Depending on the disease that you were trying to tackle, you put what type of disease and other specifications. And we're with our own algorithm. On those days, we can tell you how many doctors, which type of medical devices, how many beds you need, everything around the hospital. So it was a very good one to predict specific information for those hospitals, and then they build on top of that.
Was that a software program or?
Was a software.
Software. Yeah, that's interesting. That's very specific. That's not something you just can put into the, not even AI practically. I mean,
No.
That's very specific.
We had before like a huge list of medical devices that was approved to use in Mexico. So that's how we started with everything. We started with a big list of all these brands, these vendors that can sell a product in Mexico. And then we start to build on top of that different type of things that the hospitals needed. And then we had a big software over there. And then one big company, big hospital franchise told us like, hey, this is huge. No one has this. I want to buy it. And we sold it.
Did you sell for enough in retrospect? And was it worth it for them in retrospect? Do you think it was a pretty balanced deal for both of you?
No, definitely not.
All right, let's hear it.
No. Directly, no. Was not good for us. We were very young. No. It was a big opportunity for them because it was a huge differentiator. And they were the only ones who have that software. Unfortunately, for our side, we didn't have the experience. In 2006, a startup was not even a word, at least in Mexico. Here in the US was a complete different story. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, everything is around experience. The sun, it shine for everyone. It's not only for one. So that helped us to create experience and also to understand that this is something that we love to do, create things from the scratch. But then after this exit that helped us to finish our studies and different type of things and travel. I used to travel a lot. Well, I still travel a lot. But before it was different because I was bachelor, I was alone, I was very young. That gave me the opportunity to do a lot of stuff, very cool and interesting stuff. And then for me, it was very interesting to start to work in the big pharma. I'm trying to understand my spot, my sweet spot, my space. And I started to work in the big pharma because enterprise, it's a very big enterprise company. The companies are very big with a huge structure. So for me, it was very interesting to understand everything. So someone introduced me to the clinical trial world. And I love it. I mean, clinical trials are amazing. It's like, now I really understand why it takes so many time and it's so expensive, one drug, because the studies are amazing. I mean, I'm impressed. Every single study, it's a huge opportunity for someone who doesn't have anything to deal, they don't have any other drug, like let's say oncology. Roche and Novartis, they are very focused on oncology, but you don't have any other drug or any you don't have anything for you. So it's a huge opportunity to participate in a clinical trial. First of all, that's the first thing and very important. The second thing is like all the infrastructure that the clinical trial have inside. It's really interesting since the beginning. So for me, every single trial was like a new startup because it's like you need to build from scratch. With all the data, you have to imagine, it's like any experiment. You have the hypothesis, you have the body, you have the results, and then on top of that, you have any conclusions, and then you have to build like a pipeline. So I was very involved in that area, and I love it. So my last job was in Roche. I was the head of medical affairs, helping to create the landscaping for different trials in Latin America and in the US. was really, really good. I'm very passionate about big pharma, and I know there is a lot of people talking about big pharma, but I was working over there and I can say very good things about the people that are trying to help, willing to help people and very patient-centric and how can they improve their lives and everything. So yeah, it was really great working over there.
Your startup now, is the American pronunciation like ROOK or would it be ROOK?
That's a really good one because it's like I can tell you that I don't know.
It's not like the chess piece.
It's not the chess piece. Well, our first thoughts, we created this one, the name in Mexico, when I was in Mexico. ROOK was for me, or for us, we are the crows, the birds. The crows are one of the smartest birds in the world. And basically, they can do a lot of stuff. When they are flying together, they are the rooks. So in our minds were like every single of us, we are a crow. You will find different leaders depending on the situation. That's why sometimes they are flying the first one and then they change when they are flying together. So was the philosophy that we have today. It's like everyone is a leader inside of the ROOK team. And we are as smart as people working for one purpose, which is make this place a better place.
So with ROOK then, I see a little bit of crossover from your last job. When did you decide like, okay, that's it with the medical affairs with Roche, we're going to jump into this full time?
Yeah, it was very funny. My co-founder, then he told me like, hey, we have a huge opportunity here to create something. I want you on board because at the very beginning, we were working for the fitness industry. We were doing a platform for create an experience inside the fitness club. We create this SaaS platform with a wearable device and it make you feel that you can see your effort zone, calorie burn in real time. So the coach can tell you in real time, hey, Mike, you need to do more efforts or you need to whatever. It's like create a very good experience in the fitness club.
Marco, you're supposed to say, Mike, you're working out too hard. Slow down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. That was it.
Exactly.
That was it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. That was. And then we realized the reason that we changed is because we love to create things from the scratch. That's it. I would say that's the main purpose, how we started. When he told me about this possibility to create this platform, I was super keen. I was like, oh my goodness, perfect. Yes, because we want to improve people's lives. We want to create something from the scratch. We have to do a lot of very good stuff like before. This is going to be fun. And yeah, that's why we started. Because for me, it was very interesting because I treat the big pharma as I was an entrepreneur. They give me the opportunity to do whatever I want in terms of new things, thinking innovation, thinking new ways to extract information from patients. So for me, it was a huge opportunity to continue, creating very good things from me and, for patients.
So Marco, how do you grow your company? Do you approach the wearables and then how do you know what company's looking for what the wearables are offering? How do you know who that is? And then how do you reach out? How do you grow that?
Yeah, let me do one step back. This was a huge opportunity in the market when COVID hit.
Well,
everything was chaos. And I love chaos because chaos is a good opportunity to create new things, right? On those days, we had a very interesting meeting with the CEO of one big insurance company. And the very beginning, when COVID hit, we created a new ecosystem for fitness clubs where we started to integrate wearables because we saw that no one wants to use only our wearable. They already have a wearable like the Apple Watch or whatever. So we started to integrate all these wearables in our own platform.
And partly because of COVID, they didn't want to wear someone else's. They didn't want to touch anything.
Exactly. And then everyone started to do exercise in their own home. And for us, was very interesting because we learned from the end users that wanted to use their own wearables. So we started to integrate wearables in our own platform. Then This insurance company, the CEO, we were in a dinner, was very lucky. I was lucky, to be very honest, because he was beside me and he told me, hey, what do you do? And I started to explain it that we have a platform, that we have already integrated different wearables so the end users can have this experience. And he told me like, man, I love it. I have a program, it's a wellness program, and we want to extract the data from the wearables, from the end users that have a wearable, and then start to make more a customized experience for them. And it's very difficult to integrate the wearables because the data it's not normalized. Is there any way you can integrate your wearable, your system in my own platform? And I was like, a very good entrepreneur. Yes, we can do it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Sure.
What you're talking about. And then after 1 week, we closed the deal. They paid 3 days after the deal, and we started with this API. That's how we changed everything. I will say that from there, we understood that the fitness space was very interesting to create this new customized experience with the end user. So we saw a huge opportunity over there. So we still have a lot of our clients are from the fitness and wellness industry, but then we move more towards the insurance and the digital health space, like remote patient monitoring, because it's more on our backgrounds. We love healthcare space, and that's why we focus a little bit more over there. And they already understood that wearables are something. They have FDA clearance. I mean, that's amazing. The FDA approving to use this as a medical devices. So new doctors are starting to find ways to use the information from these devices, and the end users, the patients, are pushing the doctors to start using this information, which is great. We are in a moment where everyone is starting to take ownership of their own health. It's the first time that we can see this.
This one's not quite a wearable, but it's something kind of important, is voice. And when I think of voice stuff, I think of, well, I got to tell the story, Marco. In fact, that's why I even brought voice up. I got to tell this story. My son doesn't like it. He's 15 now, one of my sons. But when he was like 7 or 8, we're playing 20 questions. You know 20 questions, right?
Yeah.
So we're playing 20 questions. And one of the questions I asked Drew, I said, Drew, is the item you're thinking about, the thing you're thinking about, is it bigger than a school bus? And he says, let me think. Is our dock at the cottage bigger than a school bus? I said, probably. So my next question is it the dock at the cottage? And he says, yeah. So I won it on that one. All right. So Marco, now I just brought that up just to tell that story, but it does make me think about, it's not quite wearables, but it makes me think of simple questions like for the elderly, you know? It's like, you know, the voice comes on, Sally, did you take your medicine today? Well, if you don't hear from Sally at all, maybe she's not doing well at all. If she says, I'm not sure, then it looks back at some data and when's the last time she said, I'm not sure? Well, now maybe we got some confusion going on because she's always said yes. Now she says she's not sure. So I guess that's not really your cup of tea because voice it's already inputted. It's just like typing basically.
Yes and no. Amazon, for example, they have like 3 years ago, they have their own wearable. Unfortunately, they are not going to continue building this wearable, but it was very interesting because with the voice, they can give you an idea how are your stress levels.
Oh, I see.
They were not the only ones. There's like a couple of wearables outside that they are measuring the voice. And because you are all the time talking, they can measure this information and transform this information to some information about your stress levels.
How strong does your voice sound and is it shaky and different stuff like that, which is not the information, but just what are your vocal cords doing basically?
I think there is a huge opportunity over there. I mean, you can do a lot. And there is a lot of new companies that are doing very good stuff with the AI and with the voice, trying to understand if you are telling me the truth, or you are lying me, or you are nervous, or you are whatever. So yes, that could be a very good, data source for our piece of technology.
As far as your company's funding, Marco, do you guys have outside funding? Do you not? How does that all work out?
We are VC backed. So venture capital is the main source at the very beginning. At the very beginning, we bootstrap because we were doing everything by ourselves. We are developers, we are data scientists, so we know how to create this API. But now, in the moment that we are, honestly, it's massive. Our API and SDKs the clouds and everything. It's overwhelming. We do amazing things with the data. So yes, that's why we are backed by venture capital and some angel investors.
In order to grow.
Yeah, exactly. Because we have a lot of information.
How many people in the company?
We are 30-ish people.
What percent of the 30 are programming versus research versus this versus that? What percentages?
Yeah, 80%, 85% are developers and data scientists.
Writing the code to make these handshakes or taking the information and doing something with it?
I would say this is like a 50-50 because we have some of them working only with these integrations with these brands like all these wearables, but also the main and the core are working on the data. Everyone is working on data. How can they structure in a better way? How can we share this information very easy to our clients? So our roots and everything, the core value that we bring to the table is how we bring this information to our clients. So we are doing a great job on that side. That's our biggest differentiator. That's why we are too many developers and data scientists.
And Marco, I jumped over this question. We talked about how your first customer came on. How do other companies find out about you now?
Yeah, it's really interesting because it's like we are closing so many clients per month. And even though we are B2B, and it's mainly, I will say that there's more awareness about this information. There's a lot of companies looking to integrate the wearables and start to using this information in a very smart way. So now everyone is coming to us.
It's a good spot to be in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good spot, but we know that we can do better on that front. And we do a lot. Of course, we have some inbound, outbound strategies, but the best clients that we have, they are coming very alone because they already know what to do. So they are looking for API solution and they came across ROOK and it's like there's a no-brainer. It's very easy to close them, honestly.
So Marco, what does your week look like? What are you doing through the week?
I will say that all my day, I'm talking with clients, with our clients, looking for how can we improve what we are delivering, understanding if they need something else or if they need any specific thing from our technology. I spend more time or invest more time talking with my clients and of course new clients because it's more with the biggest ones, with large companies, enterprises that they are really big ones. I invest a lot of my time talking with them because they need specific things and I'm the one who can not negotiate, but it's like understand exactly what they need.
You're kind of like the human API between what you guys can do and what they need. And so you're kind of that middle person there, just like the rest of your team is doing that.
Between talking with clients in events, talking more with wearables owners, looking what's the newest, this type of things is where I spend more of my time.
Yeah. What's the worst part of your week?
It's very interesting because I hate, but at the same time I love. It's do the follow-ups, emails, and this type of things. We have everything in our CRM, and I have a lot of alerts and, write emails and this type of things take a lot of time. I prefer to be more having these conversations that can improve everything.
Marco, your company, if you look out, 5 years, is it just growth? Is it just getting better and better and growing what your core purpose is?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes. Today, the main goal, I will say, in the next years is becoming more a data science company. We want to bring these insights and predictions, create algorithms that help to identify these problems from the end users. I believe that we can do a very good job there, but first we have to create all this volume of data so we can start working with everything. That's our path.
Would that mean instead of just giving, let's say the insurance company, instead of giving them the data, you're now doing more with the data so you can say, look, we'll handle your API, but look, we got to a ton of this data already that might be helpful for you, and here's what we think about it, and that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Well, golly, Marco, thanks for joining us. It's interesting stuff. I always say I don't talk to old pharmacists like myself. I don't really have anything to learn. I don't really want to learn anything. So it's fun to go outside of the area and learn some of this stuff. Very interesting stuff. Marco, I know you're busy. I appreciate your time. Our listeners appreciate it, and great having you on.
Mike, thanks so much for this opportunity. I love it. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Business of Pharmacy podcast with me, your host, Mike Kelzer. Please subscribe for all future episodes.